Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Vanguard box set for the Daughters of Khaine, and how we can use this box set to start our Daughters of Khaine army. In this video, we'll go through and talk about all the contents inside the Vanguard Daughters of Khaine box set and what all of them do on the tabletop. We'll then take a look at some other units we can use to bring into the force to expand upon this initial box set, and finally finish off the video with a little sample army list for you to use as some inspiration to create your own Daughters of Khaine army list with the Vanguard box set as its core. And so, let's talk about what we get inside this box set. And the first thing we get is a character called a Melusai Ironscale. You see this character front and center of the picture. Movement 8, 6 wounds, 5 up save, bravery 9 is all pretty sort of standard. Remembering we do have a 6 up ward army wide. We've got 3 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1, damage D3 in combat, and a little bit of shooting potential in there as well. Its cool abilities like Blood of the Oracle, where each time this unit is affected by a spell or the abilities of an endless spell on a 5+ you ignore them. Gory Offering, if any enemy models are slain by wound caused by attacks from this unit in the combat phase, you add one to the attack characteristic friendly Melusai units nearby. It can also do some mortal wounds in combat, and it's got a cool ability called Wrath of the Scathborn, where you can use this command ability in your charge phase if this unit is part of your army, and on the battlefield, that command can only be issued by this unit, and the unit that receives it must be a friendly Melusai unit. That unit can attempt to charge even if it ran or shot in the same turn. So, pretty cool. He's going to boost up your Melusai units. He's going to give you some extra sort of damage. He's got some extra ways to get a lot of bonuses on those particular units, which is really nice. Now, with him, we get some Melusai, and it's pretty cool because these models, while that Melusai character is your general, will become battle line. The Blood Stalkers Blood Sisters kit, which can be built as either option from this box set, has a couple of different options. First of all, both of them do mortal wounds, so it's either ranged mortal wounds or combat mortal wounds. The ranged mortal wounds are not as frequent as the combat mortal wounds. Blood Sisters in combat, 2 wounds and a 5 up save, movement 8, bravery 8, and they got 3 attacks at 3/3s, Ren 1, damage 1, but they also have to turn to Crystal, where after this unit has fought for the first time in that phase, all its attacks have been resolved. You can pick an enemy unit within 1 inch and roll a dice for each model in the unit, and on a 2+, they suffer a mortal wound in addition. For the Blood Stalkers, which are the shooting variation, they're just going to get the ability Heartseekers, where if you roll a modified 6 to hit on their shooting attacks, they'll do a mortal wound instead of normal damage, where they get 2 attacks at 3/3s, Ren 1, damage 1. So, you know, you're going to get 10 shots out of 5 models, so you've got a chance of 1, maybe 2 mortal wounds coming out of them at range. The other unit we get is a standard battle line unit called Witch Elves, and they can also be built as Sister Slaughter, which are also standard battle line. Witch Elves and Sister Slaughter both have a couple of different weapon options. They can both either go for dual combat weapons. In the case of Sister Slaughter, this is a dagger and whip, or in the case of Daughters of Khaine, the Witch Elves, it is 2 daggers, or you can choose to have shields with the whips for the Sister Slaughter, or shields and a single dagger for the Witch Elves. Now, if you choose to have shields, or the bladed bucklers rather, they are going to have the cool ability where if the unmodified save roll for an attack made with this melee weapon that targets a unit with a bladed buckler is a 60, attacking unit suffers a mortal wound instead. And if you're choosing to go with your Witch Elves and have some other abilities, you can get +1 to wound for attacks made by melee weapons if there's any Daughters of Khaine totems nearby them. Sisters of Slaughter have a cool ability, which is called the Dance of Death, where they can pile in and fight from 6 inch rather than 3. This makes them really cool and some really nice tricks you can play around in the combat phase with them. Lastly, we have 5 Doomfire Warlocks. These are a really interesting unit. First of all, they're a unit of wizards, and they've got their own spell that they can use called Doomfire, where if there's fewer than 5 models, they do D3 mortal wounds. If there's 5 to 9 models, they do D6 mortal wounds with the spell, or if the unit has 10 or more models, they do a nice flat 6 mortal wounds. You also get +1 to casting and unbinding for the unit while it has 5 or more models in it. So some nice stuff you can get there. Other than that, they aren't too shabby in combat. Cursed Scimitars at 2 attacks, 4s, 3s, Ren 1, damage 1, and then another 2 attacks at 4s and 4s, no Ren, damage 1, coming out of their Dark Steeds. They've also got Doomfire Crossbows, which are 2 attacks, 4s, 3s, no Ren, damage 1, at a 12-inch range for some shooting. You can actually put out a decent amount of power out of this unit. I think they're a really underrated unit for Daughters of Khaine. But with all of that said, let's take a look at some units we can use to expand upon this initial box set with. And so here we have some other units. Now, the first 3 units we're going to talk about, the Hag Queen, Slaughter Queen, and Bloodwrack Medusa, all come inside the Cauldron of Blood kit, which means you can build a Cauldron of Blood underneath any of these models as well, or for the Bloodwrack Medusa, build a Bloodwrack Shrine underneath it. Whichever 2 models you build on foot, the other one can go atop the shrine. You'll get all 3 regardless of which way you build that particular kit. So it's a really nice kit to pick up. Now, the Hag Queen, her cool thing is she has the Witch Brew, where at the start of your hero phase you can pick a friendly Daughters of Khaine unit, whole within 12 inch of this unit, and say they'll drink her Witch Brew. If you do so, you add 1 to the number of the current battle round when determining the abilities gained by the Blood Rats table. This is cumulative with any other abilities that would do so. So some pretty nice stuff there. Your Slaughter Queen is the other, I guess, Witch Elf style hero you're going to get in the box set, and her big thing is she's got the command ability called Orgy of Slaughter. The command ability can only be issued by this unit and is received by friendly Daughters of Khaine within 3 inch of any enemy units, and that unit can fight in the hero phase, so really nice getting some extra attacks out of your units. The Bloodwrack Medusa, she is a wizard and she's going to give you access to some of the really cool spells that Daughters of Khaine do have, which is really cool. You've got cool spells in there that can give you extra rend, can get some extra damage, can do some teleports, can do some direct damage. Really nice. And she's also got her Bloodwrack Stare, which is a 12-inch attack. But you roll a dice for every model in the target unit that's in range of this, and on a 5+, the unit suffers a mortal wound, so great at getting rid of enemy hordes. You've also got an ability called Melusai Ironscale, where at the start of the combat phase you can pick a friendly Melusai unit within 12 inch and add 1 to the number of the current battle round when determining abilities gained from the Blood Rats for that particular unit. So she's going to help boost your Melusai units up. So pretty nice there as well. Lastly, I want to talk about the High Gladiatrix. I think she's a really solid unit. She's got the Dance of Death, so much like the Sister of Slaughter, she can pile in within 6 and do some really interesting things. And this can be pretty cool with her Killing Stroke, where at the end of the combat phase, you pick one enemy hero within an inch and roll d3. Add the number of wounds allocated to that enemy hero to the roll, and if the wound roll is equal or greater than the enemy's hero wound characteristic, it's outright slain. She's also got the Paragon of Slaughter rule, where barbed whips and sacrificial knives used by Witch Elves and Sister Slaughter unit within 12 inch of her have a wound characteristic of 3+ instead of 4+, and a rend of -1 instead of dash. Remembering, this changes the characteristic here, which is really cool, meaning that you can still get additional bonuses on top of that. So meaning you can get your Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter down to 2s to wound if you're on particular tables for the Blood Rats ability for the army. All really nice. These are some great heroes you can add to the force. So, with all of this said, let's take a look at how we can put all of this into practice. And so, here we have a sample army list. Now, we've gone for Hagna. I think this is just a great template to start learning how to play the army with. All it does is simply count you as 1 higher on the Blood Rights table than you otherwise would. So, you're going to start with +1 to run and charging and +1 to hit in turn 2. Really nice. Mortal Realm, Ulgu, it just fits the narrative, and Grand Strategy, we've gone for Hold the Line, because we've got a decent amount of bodies there in this army. Triumph, we've gone for Bloodthirsty. I don't actually think the +1 to wound is that great in Daughters of Khaine, considering you already get +1 to wound from your Blood Rights table, your Allegiance ability at points in the game, and you're going to get that by turn 3 in Hagnar anyway, so I think Bloodthirsty for a rerollable charge is nice. Now we've gone for the Melusai Ironscale as our general. This is going to be so we can make sure those Melusai units we have in that initial box set are battle line for us. And we've got the command trait Zealous Orator, which is just fantastic. This allows you to do rally commands on a 4+ rather than a 6. Really, really solid. The artifact Crown of Woe is going to be a 9-inch area denial artifact that stops your opponent being able to use Inspiring Presence and Rally within 9 inch, and if this model ever kills anything, it turns into a 15-inch aura instead. So a really nice ability. Not only is this particular general going to give us better rallies, but it's going to stop our opponent being able to use them nearby as well. We then have a Hag Queen with Catechism of Murder as her prayer. This is a pretty solid prayer for the army. It's going to give you Exploding Sixes, which is every time you roll a 6 to hit, it's going to cause 2 hits instead of 1. And then lastly, the High Gladiatrix in there as well, just to boost up our Witch Elf unit. Speaking of Witch Elves, we've got 20 of them as one of our battle line units, reinforced 1 time with Sacrificial Knives, a pair of them. I really just think all offense all the time is the way to go. And then 10 Blood Sisters, once again reinforced 1 time in there as well, for a decent solid combat force here. We then have our Doomfire Warlocks in there as well, and everything is nicely wrapped up inside a battle regiment, meaning we're a 1-drop force, which I think trying to be as lower drops as possible for Daughters of Khaine, considering you are a glass cannon army and rely on your characters giving you your units buffs, is certainly important. 970 points means we are 30 points under. I mean, there's a good chance we're going to get that rerollable triumph, which is really nice, remembering it's just really useful to get that reroll, make sure we get those charges in. 2 out of 2 reinforced units, no allies, 67 wounds is solid for this points value, and a 1-drop army as mentioned. All in all, a pretty solid Daughters of Khaine army. There's a good amount of stuff in that initial Vanguard box set. Let us know what you think down in the comments below, and if you've been playing with Daughters of Khaine, I'd love to hear how you've been going with them in the comments below as well. And so that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop us a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, or grabbing some channel merch off our merch store on Teespring, which is on our YouTube store as well. You can also come chat with me and other members of our little community here and our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description, along with the Patreon and YouTube members links. And as a special shout out to all those Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giapi 390. And a special thank you to our YouTube members: Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Locke Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Sean Scott, Pink Nico Fire, and Robin Mankiller as well. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to everyone who comes on the channel and helps us create everything we do. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.